Hey guys, it's Unique, and I wanted to present my socialization project, and this just includes the time frame between ages 0 and through 12. And I wanted to start off with the states and cities that hold a large value in my life that predominantly shaped me into the person that I am today. And yeah, I was born in Victorville, California, and this is where I spent my early childhood growing up. I'll say probably from like ages 0 to 4 years old, I was in Victorville. After my father went to prison when I was three. My father went to prison when I was 3 years old after my little sister was born. And our house ended up burning down after a couple months after he went to jail. So at this point in time, we had to move, and we ended up moving to Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, I lived there probably from ages 5 to 7, and I was living there with my mother and my 7 siblings, as you can see in the picture. We were living in the projects. If you look at the top right corner, that was our home. And yeah, I spent a great deal of my early childhood here. I have a lot of memories because not only did I spend some of my early childhood here, I also went and back and forth to live in Vegas. So I've been back and forth from Las Vegas to Los Angeles my whole life. Moving forward, I would say that this city was probably played the largest role in shaping me and showing me the basics, because I moved to Long Beach after my family got separated, and I moved to Long Beach afterwards with my grandmother, and some of my older siblings went to their family members, and some of them ended up in foster care. And at this point in time, my mother, she was deemed unfit to care for me and my siblings. So moving forward, I'd like to talk about my family, because my family is part of my microsystem, and they were the only people that I remember seeing on a daily basis that'll have any type of influence in my life. Yes, my mother has 8 children, and I'm the 7th child. I have a younger sister, and I have 2 older sisters and 4 older brothers. My sisters' names are Tamisha, Sequoia, and Diamond. Tamisha is the oldest. Sequoia is the second daughter, and Diamond is the last daughter. She's after me. I would say my mother, she played a large role. My socialization, of course. However, I was not only raised by my mother. She had issues with parenting, and she's lost her kids multiple times. So basically, I've learned not to be attached to my mother, and I've also learned from my mother to be independent, because she was a single mother with 8 children. She basically had no male help. The men that were around were little to no help. But moving forward to my father, I hardly remember my father from ages 0 to 12, because he spent most of his time in prison, and we'll go visit him in prison. This just shaped me differently, because I basically didn't have either one of my parents. It just made me to an independent person and a more sheltered person. My father, my tough side came from my father, because he's not very sentimental. He shows tough love. My brothers, I have 4 of them. They're all older than me: Darcy, Shannon, Keontae, and Jonathan. And yeah, I lived with them on and off my whole life. They're my half siblings, but I couldn't tell the difference, because my mother usually kept us together, or we would all be with our our grandmother. We never were all like separated for a large amount of time. I'll give props to my grandmothers and my socialization because at a point in time I was being raised by them. I had nowhere else to go. So my mother's children were either sent to my grandmother on my mother's side, which is on the left side, or my grandmother on my father's side, which is on the right side. I probably was closest to my grandmother on the right side because she taught me basically how to be clean, how to basically live, how to wash dishes, how to do the basic, like get dressed, bathe, use manners. I would say my mother didn't have the time to do that, but also she had several other children to pay attention to. But moving forward, culture and religion plays a large role in my socialization, especially because I'm African American. I'm African American, and like being African American is just, I feel like a strong woman because African Americans have been through a lot through history, and then just learning about that history always caught my interest, and I've always felt strongly about African American history and our culture and Black power and everything on that end. Moving forward to my religion, this is like the go-to religion for African Americans. Our ancestors were Christian, and this is basically just a way for us to express ourselves. This gives us something to hope in. Growing up, it was a big thing in my family because we attended church every Sunday and we attended Bible study every Wednesday. My mom made sure that I was part of the praise dance team and the choir. As you can see, the pictures of the choir and the praise dance girls, those are basically outfits we had to wear when we were praise dancing. This basically gave me that Christian background to this day. Yeah. At first it was forced upon me, but as I grew up to learn more about it and why my family leaned on this religion so heavily, I could say that I'm a strong believer of the Lord. But moving on to my schools, I would say like schools didn't play a big role in my socialization to me because I've been to so many of them. I've never been at one school for so long to where it has impacted my way of life or impacted or altered my way of thinking. But here's some of the elementary schools that basically took a toll on me when I did have to leave them, due to the fact that at these schools I did make a few friends. And yeah, so Clara Barton was in Long Beach. Kit Carson was an elementary school in Las Vegas, Nevada. Matt Kelly was also in Las Vegas, Nevada. Eagle Ranch Elementary School is in Victorville, and Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School is in Los Angeles. So I would like to say, to wrap it up, my socialization basically flourished from the opinions, morals, and behaviors of my mother, my grandmother, and my siblings. I gained most of my knowledge from different schools and different experiences from the atmospheres that I was placed in. Also, I would like to say Christianity will forever be a part of my socialization because it gives me hope, and it also explains why the world is the way it is. I've gained knowledge from reading the Bible, and this is how I basically cope with life. Being African American in America for my whole life has influenced the way I think about my future, and has also influenced my life to its entirety. But that's I'm gonna leave you guys with that, and I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Yeah.